Hello. Hello, good people of Earth. It is me. I am clearly really hyped up and excited about this. I'm already busting out of the gate with my many jazz hands and my ultra cosmic court jester vibes. I actually sort of spoiled the lead here and brought out the jazz hands sooner than anticipated, but also that's okay. I do have a special treat, which is that in a second or two, I'm going to be using these babies to gently play one of my crystal bowls, which you sadly cannot see. But before I get started, a couple of things for those of you who are new here. Welcome, good people of Earth. I am so excited about this. I am Andrea Donnelly, the founder, the creator of the Future Medicine Healing Method. I do all kinds of things. I weave my lifelong extraordinary psychic gifts, healing acumen, cosmic clownery, and level of just excitement, joie de vivre, and joy into storytelling, helping guide you home to yourself, essentially helping people around the world with future medicine, which I used. For those of you who have been on this journey with me for a while, you know this, but I used my method, the future medicine energy healing method, to heal myself from previously disabling chronic nerve pain. And I am thusly my own biggest hype queen. And I also, yeah, and I not also, but I now leverage this method to help people around the world with all kinds of different things. I think of future medicine as the frequency of magic and miracles, and the things I have watched it do for people in the past few years since I started my business is nothing short of motherfucking miraculous. And I like to weave a lot of things that I've always loved, like show and tell and musical interludes and just, general everyday goofery into all my things. So it's been a while since I did any sort of live like this or energetic scene report, and there's a lot going on. Okay, you're here on Earth with me, you know this is true. It is a fucking clown show out there right now, and it's been like that. I mean, frankly, it's been a clown show since I was incarnated in this body, and it just keeps ramping up. Okay, so hopefully the things I go through today, I have a whole beautiful little display of things that you can't see that I have ready to tune into for you. Um, in the spirit of show and tell, which you guys know I love to leverage as a way of helping to, essentially helping you to remember things about yourself as I share things. So I have some fun stuff on a table here in front of me. Let's take a deep breath before we go any further. And I get into sort of what I'm seeing unfold as we move through the spring and moving forward. And so let's just take a minute, take a deep breath. We're going to connect into the earth. Mother Earth. She is our mother. She is here on this journey, like me, helping guide you home to yourself. And connecting in with her, thanking her, connecting to all the elements, the wind, the water, the all chemical fire, moving in concert with your own magic, with your own sacred heart, which is, as I always say, the point from which magic is born, is that heart of yours. So now that we've done that, I'm sorry you can't see her, she's so beautiful. But I have my crystal bowls, you guys know, and I have been doing something the past couple of, I don't know, years, months, many human measurements of time, where I like to put these puppies on here to increase the flow of energy, and laughter. Laughter is, as we all know, the best medicine. So I'm going to use these babies to just strum a little on my crystal bowl, which I think there are pictures of my crystal bowl somewhere on the IG. But anyway, I'm not going to get caught up in that. She's lovely. If there's not a photo of her somewhere on my social media, I will post a picture of her online. And ultimately, I'm aiming as we move through the next few months to get to a point where I have a more formal set where you guys will be able to actually see everything, instead of, sort of the current setup, which is like me. I can show the things on camera, but you can't, for example, see the crystal balls. Anyway, real great stuff here. Here we go. Just drink in the sound, drink in the dulcet tones of my voice in this fucking beautiful crystal bowl, which is like the color of peach sherbet. Here we go. Sound like laughter is such a precious gift. It has the ability to just so deeply retune things in such a powerful and profound way. So I hope that lightened you up. And now I'm going to remove these babies, my beloved little treasures, so that I can have better access to my hands, so that I can get into all the things that I have pulled here for you. So a couple of things as I go through this. One is, I have not done a card pull in a hot minute. It's been like actual years. And you guys know that even prior to that, I was never a big, I appreciate, I think the tarot is like an incredibly deep source of wisdom, but just the way that my own capacity to like tune into things works. Sometimes, a lot of times it's easier for me to like not have the cards and just like go straight, like tune into something straight away. And so I sort of worked out of using the cards. That said, I got a big nudge to do a card pull using my favorite deck, which if you guys have been here for a while, you know it is the Slow Holler deck, which is sadly no longer available. I think sometimes people post like their decks on Etsy, but it's out of print. It was made by a Southern Queer Collective, and they like revisioned and renamed some of the suites, and the art is just like fucking exquisite. It is an absolute treasure. I have owned many tarot decks, and this is the only one that I've ever used, which I think really says something about its power and wisdom. Big shout out to my dear lifelong star sister Sylvan for giving it to me as a gift many years ago. So I pulled 3 cards from the deck, which I'm gonna show you here in a second. And what I did was I tuned into the energy that we're in now. I tuned into the energy that we're going to be moving through in the spring, and then the arc of this whole year and into the coming 2026, 27, and beyond. So I have 3 cards that I pulled. One thing I do want to say about the energy that we are moving through right now. And again, if you've been here for a while, you've likely heard me say this, but January, when the Gregorian calendar says is the new year, is like that is a hot con, as I like to say, one of the many hot cons that we are sold here down on, Misinformation Island, aka like prison planet, clown show, whatever is going on down here. And don't get me wrong, there are things I love about this planet. I love all of you. I love the animals. I love the plants and the trees and the earth and the elements. And then there's just also a lot of nonsense and chaos and misinformation and oppression and bullshit and violence. And that is what future medicine is here to do, is to help be an antidote to that motherfucking bullshit, because it's just time for all of us to live in a deeper way of stewardship and love. And there are enough resources on this planet for all of us, for every heart and hand. So that is the point from which I move always. And I think that the reason I brought that up was because I don't perceive January to be the new year. Many very wise, ancient religions and also current peoples from around the world actually perceive the new year to be in the spring. Just kind of makes sense, right? That like the dead of winter, a time when most people are called to go deeply inward and rest and slow down, is not necessarily the point at which newness is born. And so here we are approaching the spring equinox. So this is the energetic new year. So now is the time when what I tend to just myself perceive the months of January and February to be something of like, I call them the bridge months that, essentially bridge us from the energy of the previous year into the energy of the current year. So here we go. So the one that I pulled, I mean, fucking on the nose, like I can't even, nobody's business. The first card that I pulled was the now card. So like what is happening now? Just, I don't know, spoiler or something, except here I'm just showing it to you. So this is the precipice card, which you can see involves this person who is, tied up so tenderly in this like wild rope configuration, which depending on your level of kink might be, kind of sexy and a vibe, and it might be really horrifying to you. Regardless, I think it really says a lot about what is happening right now. And the thing about this card to me, just like fucking perfect, is that it has felt like we are at the precipice of this energy of, a lot of people talk about like this idea of the new earth, which I'm like making a face about already, because to me, we're not creating something new. We are reclaiming something that has always existed, which is our own power and light and magic. These shitty systems that are frankly present in every part of society, in every country, all over the world, do not work within for us. And what we need to do is say, we don't want this anymore. We don't want this for ourselves. We don't want this for our children. We don't want this for our communities, for the land, for the animals, and for all that's beyond this realm. So to me, we are on the precipice of something really big. And it's to me an ancient reclamation of our own power, of disconnecting from this bullshit and this tyranny and oppression that has just run completely out of control. But the thing about being on the precipice is it can also be, tense. A little, it can, again, to just not, if depending on your level of kink and interest, it could be something, right, that like feels kind of sexy and kind of fun. And it can also feel like agonizing and really stressful and scary. And the idea of like leaping into the unknown, which I think is such a big part of what all of us are being really called to do right now, is take these massive leaps of faith isn't exactly the right word, because to me that concept is about like believing in something outside of yourself, which is true in some ways, but then there's this other way where it's like about remembering that you're a fucking powerful, wild, brilliant source of light, which leads me, okay, if we're at the precipice of something, beautiful and cool and new, which is how I interpret this card, then what we need are the visionaries. And so the next card that I pulled is this Visionary of Stones card. All right, there are a couple of things I love about this. One is that these heels worn by this person with amazing, shapely, hairy legs, is these heels are made of many stones. I always say that the thing about what needs to happen now, from my perspective, the big call to action, there's a lot of calls to action, but the thing that to me is going to be the point from which we actually start to see even more miracles, more massive restoration and true recalibration into systems where the financial system is healed, or our relationship to the earth and the animals and our communities and ourselves, our bodies, the earth, have been completely restored. Education shifts into something that genuinely works within for each of us and our gifts and our magic and our talents, our creativity. Right? I mean, I could like literally go through every system and like articulate what my vision is. And I do that work every day where I hold that vision for something better. But the way that we're going to move through it is for each of us to take our vision. We don't all need to be good at everything. We just need to show up with our own motherfucking magic, and the gift and the lens of perception is what I always say. We need your unique lens of perception to be fully cultivated. It doesn't need to be perfect. You might make mistakes. It might get messy. You might not fully understand what that even means. But it's time for each of us to get our stones in order and start to do the work to rebuild. Okay. And so that to me, the visionary of stones, is a massive call to action. And it was beautiful because this is the card that I pulled for what is the energy of the new year, right? Again, operating from the perspective that I hold, which is that the new year is when we enter spring, which is coming very soon here as we approach the equinox. So as you tend to your garden of rocks and treasures, what is the unique lens of perception? What is the system? What is the area of culture, politics, society, religion, finances, stewardship, whatever, education, medicine, healing, like whatever, every system needs light and magic. And all you need to make sure you're doing is bringing your rock to the table. And as we work in concert with each other, it's like an orchestra, right? As you bring your rock, which now I'm transitioning to, what is this, a different metaphor? Right? As you bring your rock to the table, which I'm now turning your rock into an instrument, which, you know, I love to, oh man, where's my, I have my massive, I think it's in my bed, sadly. I meant to have her on my table here, but I have my big, my really big, beautiful Lemurian crystal that I like to play air guitar on sometimes, air crystal. That is a little bit of Barracuda, which is, you know, one of the things that I like to jam out on my now ethereal crystal instrument that I'm like playing as if she's with me in my hand. Anyway, I know my vision, my unique lens of perception is not like anybody else's, and I am bringing it, and I am bringing it every day. I am showing up for myself. I am showing up for my clients, my community, my business. It's not always easy. I mean, let's be real. It has been stone cold exhausting, especially the past couple of months. Oh, I mean, yeah, it's winter, but you know, where I live, we were hit by a brutal cold spell. That shit is exhausting. I've been meaning to do this for actual weeks. Here I am today, right? Like I had the energy, the stars aligned. I'm out here making moves, right? But I've been like still doing work behind the scenes, taking care of myself, tending to, you know, my garden, as it were. So look at, we need your vision, we need your rock, as it were, to be part of the collective, because as we bring each of our rocks, our instruments, right? We are a chorus. We become an orchestra of creation and power. And here's the real thing about all of this. These sucky systems that got to go and are going, right? They are, they don't, we don't need these systems. That's like one of the big, I feel like one of the hottest cons that we've been sold is this idea that we need these systems that exist ostensibly to take care of us or something, that have not and do not, and have led to, environmental, financial, um, devastation in too many ways to even articulate, right? These systems, we don't need these systems. These systems need us. What about that? What about that? Huh? Really like lean into that for a minute. I'm not saying that there's not like boots on the ground stuff that we need to do. And your contribution to this like act of collective restoration of reclaiming our sovereignty, our consciousness, individually and collectively, it might be real boots on the ground, right? You might be someone who's being called to clean up your community, create a garden, a community garden, get involved in something like a CSA, starting to volunteer for, all kind. There are so many different places that are in such high levels of need right now, right? So it's a mix of the spiritual and the actual action. And the more that each of us can engage in whatever it is that we're being called to do, to really like examine our own life, to examine how we're showing up and being an active contribution to this act of restoration and recalibration, we become architects. Okay. So this is the card that I pulled for like what is unfolding in the years coming, right? And that also includes now. So it felt like the perfect transition from that first card, right? We had this first card, which was the precipice. Ooh, the tension. All right. Now we got this sexy witch here wearing these incredible heels that were built, in my perception, my read on this, by community. We come together to create something beautiful together. And that's also what this is about. Okay, this Architect of Knives card is one of my favorite cards. There's something I love about it so much. I remember when I first got this deck going through it and just feeling completely enchanted by this card. So beautiful. So here's the thing about this Architect of Knives. When I tune into that energy, it's of course related to what I was just going through about, right? What's your unique lens of perception? How are you showing up? How are you cultivating your own intuition, your spiritual gifts, really starting to do the work so that you have that level of spiritual intelligence, which we all have. It's one of my greatest gifts is helping you activate and cultivate that. Okay, clearing your field of the energetic misalignments, which are far too complex to even get into because it's such a tangled web. But the way, right, one of the biggest ways that we are going to create something better and more beautiful and restore all of our ancient truths is by being an architect who uses our skill set. And in this case, I love how they're using this knife, right, to do something, to like go in and cut away a layer and unfold something new. And to me, when I think about, I'm actually, I'm in the process right now of re-listening to Philip Pullman's series, The Golden Compass. And I am right now re-listening to, so he had like the original three. One of them is called The Subtle Knife. And this card, so it's interesting because I'm listening to one of the books. It's not from the original three. It's from the the prequel and the more recent set of three that he created. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting lost in the sauce as I try to explain, but I can't remember. There's the prequel is called The Belle Sauvage, and that has a blue cover, and then the one after that, the second in the prequel, postquel, whatever the thing is, that were written after the original three, is a red book. I can't remember the title of it, but I'm listening to that one right now. Sorry, that was a long-winded way to say feels very connected to this. Okay, in that original book, there was one that was titled The Subtle Knife, and one of the characters in that book had the ability to use this crazy mystical knife to be able to literally cut through the layers of the dimensions and be able to cut through the fabric of reality and enter different worlds. That's what that's what I feel like we're really doing right now. Okay, as part of this rebuilding, this restoration, this reclaiming, is each of us taking our magic, our gifts. Every single person on earth has spiritual intelligence. You have intuition. You have magic, whether you are aware of it or not. And it is time to get really fucking real with yourself, which brings me to my next part of show and tell, which we have. I've been sharing this so much. My special executive realness pin. It is time to get executively real with yourself. Even if you are someone who is a boots on the ground kind of person who knows that your contribution is to get out there and do the physical things, okay? No matter what it is that you are being called to do right now, to me, the most important thing beyond just doing that, right, is to cultivate your intuition and spiritual gifts. This is not a time to sit on your laurels and think about, oh, someday I will do X, Y, and Z. It's now. The time where you're going to get out there, reclaim your own truth, your magic, your light, and become just like invincible and fortified. I'm not saying your life is going to be perfect. You are on earth. It is a clown show down here. It is complex and challenging, and I will never deny that. However, I survived because of the power of magic and miracles. I have 1,000 stories. Many of you have heard a lot of them about times when actual magic and miracles occurred in my life. It's literally how I've survived and existed. It's incredible. It is time to get executively real with yourself and start to deeply cultivate that. You want that spiritual intelligence, which we all possess and has been massively interfered with and manipulated, right? I have a type of session that I do, which I call the psychic gifts activation, aka shell ears technology, which, by the way, do not try this at home. I am a professional clown and wizard. I am a pro wizard. I am, I'm a professional. Don't try shellers yourself at home. But one of the things that I do is that during psychic, so I have these sessions called psychic gifts activations, also known as the Shellers technology activation. Okay, so and there's a podcast, if you're interested, there's a really funny episode. There are two episodes there's an episode of Third Eye Awakening with my star sister, Amy Belair, where she and I talk about this because I did a shell ears activation for her to help reclaim and like reweave her clairaudient gifts into her field. We did trade with each other and we talked about it on an episode of Third Eye Awakening, which I will link in the comments here if you want to tune into that. And then Amy Belair, the host of Third Eye Awakening, and another one of our star sisters, one of my favorite people, Elise Basine, who has the Reclaiming Consciousness podcast. The three of us did a trade with each other. We recorded it. And so we talked about my proprietary Shellers technology on an episode of Reclaiming Consciousness as well, which I will also link if you want to find out more about that. And also, by the way, if you are watching this and you're like, I want to have my clairaudient gifts retuned to this proprietary Shellers technology, or any of your other psychic gifts that you want to cultivate and activate through the end of March, you can book Shellers technology activation and save $100. They're normally $397, but you can use the code Spring Magic to save $100. So they'll be $297. And I'm partial to this, but like, wow, the things that happen for people when I do this work with them, fucking chef's kiss. Okay, so back to where I'm almost done. I know this is getting like a little bit longer than I had anticipated. I was on a walk the other day. If you know me, walking is one of my greatest tender lifelong loves. And I was walking and I found this little strip of paper. It looks like it's from like a vintage magazine or something. I don't know if someone was out there decoupaging what they were up to, but I immediately picked this buddy up. Fun. Um, I know it's exhausting to be alive. It's also magical. And there's a lot of beauty and magic on this planet. So the other thing I want to just really call in is just whatever you can do right now to have fun is a vibe. Okay. And that could be, one of the ways that I like to have fun is by hanging around and goofing with my cats, right? They're like my best friends. You guys know that I just love them to bits and bits and bits and bits. Um, when I'm done with this, I have a cat enrichment area, which has, of course, because cats love to, receive a box. Bless Amazon for all of their boxes. We have a cat enrichment area, which has 3 cat grasses, a bunch of catnip plants, some water. It's got a bunch of what I call crinkle paper, which is packing paper from the boxes. Okay, so there are like 2 Amazon boxes, and then I've got all these plants around them and their water. And then there's also like an additional layer of crinkle paper that I have extended out that I will, hide catnip and throw toys into. And I call that the cat club, right? So once I'm done with this live, I'm gonna go get out there on the streets. And by streets, I just mean walk over to the cat club, goof around with the cats for a few minutes, put some music on. Oh, which leads me to something else that I wanted to make sure to remember, and I'm glad that I'm doing it. Okay, on the note of fun. All right, listen, you guys know, if you've been here for a while, that I love dancing. Okay, I took dance lessons from the time I was very tiny through middle school, which is far longer than most people who are not competitively dancing go through it, but I just loved it. I love dancing so much. And you guys know, some of you might have come to like one of my, call them anti-colonial dance parties, dancing for the revolution. So I haven't done an anti-colonial dance party in a while, and I kind of wanted to like bring a little bit of that into this, but the problem is when I play music, of course, I get like dinged by copyright and done it. Anyway, if you want to be on the list so that the next time I do an anti-colonial dance party, also known, I like to have many names for things as already witnessed here with the psychic gifts activation. The anti-colonial dance parties, I also think of them as intergalactic dance parties. So those are really fun. I make a super clowny playlist of music that both you would hear at the club and then music you would probably never think of being at the club with, like Peace Train, that kind, like 70s rock. It's just like a super weird, in my opinion, awesome fucking time. Okay, so if you want to make sure that you know when the next intergalactic anti-colonial dance party is, which will be virtual and coming to a Zoom room near you soon, probably like end of March, April-ish. My birthday's in April, so maybe it'll be like a party. Anyhow, make sure that you are on my newsletter, which will also be linked here in the comments. The other thing is, if you sign up for my newsletter and you're new to my world, you'll also get information when you sign up to be able to register for my next group healing, which is March 20th, I believe. It's normally $55 to attend this virtual group monthly healing that I do, but if you register for my newsletter, you will receive a code to be able to register for free. So I'd fucking love to see you there. I believe so deeply in the power of energy medicine and clownery and whimsy, and love to help bring us somewhere so much better. And I don't think it certainly requires each of us to really go big. But I don't think it's going to be as hard as it potentially feels. which is one of the other things that I love about the cards that I pulled. So the last thing I'm going to do here, is okay, you guys know that I love my things, my objects. So this little cutie I ordered for my Christmas tree, which is still up. She's a year-round tree. But this ornament is actually just like part of my like many treasures that I use often in sessions. When I before a session I tune into the like literal like hundreds if not thousands of beautiful objects that I have, crystal shells, things like this. And I bring in different energies into a call with a client, and this is what I tuned into for all of us. So this lady here, you know, pink flamingos, fucking a vibe, right? Always a vibe. I actually have a whole bunch of other. I've got some of my other little buddies. You guys know the story of these. I fucking love these so much too. Anyway, back to her. Here's the thing, okay? You guys know, having been called a weirdo my whole fucking life, I went out there because I'm also a nerd. And at some point, I looked up the etymology of the word weird, and wouldn't you know it, in Old German, weird translates to mean destiny. Whoa, what the fuck? So, okay, we're all being told to fall in line and do the things that society needs from us and culture needs from us and our families need from us and churches need from us and da da da, all these systems need from us to like be a good citizen and be a good person and do things. And I want everyone to be like really bringing their A game of stewardship and cosmic justice and love to the table. And that means that you need to embrace your ultimate weirdness, okay? Because to me, if you go a step further, I remember reading that and being like, holy fuck, destiny. To me, destiny is you, is each of us, our sacred wisdom, our unique language of our heart. Okay. This, you guys know I'm obsessed with this thing. One of the things that I always feel like I do is help to restore the language of your heart, so that you can see with the eyes of your heart. And I've been saying that for years. And then a couple of years ago, this incredible embroidery artist, whose name is Tess Parlow, I saw this pop up in her Instagram stories, and I was like, oh my God, I always say that I help people see with the eyes of their heart. And my God, she has articulated this using beads and magic. So it's time to start to see with the eyes of your heart. And it's uncomfortable. I mean, talk about how uncomfortable shit can feel and be, right? If we go back to that first card just here for a minute, right? This first card, that tension, it is uncomfortable to fully claim who you are and start to just brazenly be the wild weirdo that you are, whatever that means, right? It's not going to look your version of your soul's truth, your divine gifts, your ultimate, right, heart song, the whispers of your heart are going to be different than other people. And then there are going to be ways, right, where there's overlap and you commiserate and you're like, oh, I'm really into that too. And that's all amazing because we all need to be cultivating our voice and our vision. So, thank you so much being here on this wild, wacky journey with me as I walked you through these energies, did a little energetic scene forecast for you about what's happening, what's coming. I love you so much. Follow me, please like, comment, share, review this, all the things. This work is my gift. This is my future medicine, is my love letter to the world. And the more each of you can support me to just like share this with people who you think will, resonate and align with what it is that I'm up to. If you know anyone who is looking to either receive energy healing, to cultivate their spiritual intelligence, their intuition, their psychic gifts, or to learn how to essentially master the healing arts, because I also have a certification program in future medicine. Find me. My website is We Are Here to Remember. I'm here on YouTube under the monikerbirdtv.com. Again, I like to have a lot of different names for things. I cannot help it. The eyes of my heart are not just clown eyes, but they are the eyes and the language of poetry. So find me in all the places. I love you so much. I hope to see you on Future Medicine Monthly in March. And I'm also hoping to do some live events at some point in the coming new year as we roll up on the spring equinox and like the actual true new year. So more to come on all of that. I love you so fucking much. Thank you for being here, my sweet, beautiful light.